Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. The golden centerpiece of Henry VIII's crown has been found, and it could be worth millions of dollars. Let's explore! This is an article about an amateur treasure hunter who has found the missing centerpiece of Henry VIII's crown. And it comes to us from goodnewsnetwork.org. It's nice to see that there's a site out there that is devoted to good news. We certainly do need it in this day and age. And this was shared with me by Doctor Who. A fascinating story indeed about British history and finding an amazing piece of treasure here. How many times has this happened to you? You're a soon-to-be booted British monarch running away from the 1645 Battle of Naseby, clutching a priceless gold diadem in your sweaty fist. But due to the slavering Roundheads horde nipping at your heels, you don't have time to stop and retrieve the not-so-lucky totem when it inadvertently slips from your grip as you beat a hasty retreat. Some archaeological historians speculate that might just be how an enameled gold figurine with an estimated value of $2.7 million found its way into the Northamptonshire field where amateur treasure hunter Kevin Kev Duckett found it back in 2017. And of course, why are we just hearing about this now? Find out here later on in the article. There may be 1,000 reasons why the gold figure of Henry VI ended up in a Northamptonshire field, writes British historian Leanda de Lisle, but it strikingly is that the find site is exactly on the route that Charles fled from the Battle of Naseby in 1645, and in a place that saw extreme violence. Let's take a look at it again. There's the figurine. Fascinating. In order to escape the conflict, Charles was forced to charge Oliver Cromwell's cavalry. He's said to have dropped his pistols after firing them in the process of jumping a stream. Perhaps it wasn't all he dropped, de Lisle postulated. And again, for those who don't know, at the time there was essentially a civil war, leading up to a civil war between the Royalists and the parliamentarians at the time, from which Oliver Cromwell was the general, soon to be essentially a dictator after Charles was dethroned and beheaded. Although Duckett's been hunting buried booty for 3 decades, it was during his maiden metal-sweeping foray, searching a previously undisturbed site, that the stunning icon turned up just inches beneath the topsoil. Duckett knew what he had found was a Tudor relic, but he had no idea what the 1.4-inch hunk of history really was until he immersed himself in research. After 3 years of sifting through royal inventories dating back centuries, he ironically pinned down its provenance after viewing its doppelganger in a historic Royal Palace's YouTube video featuring a reproduction of a crown once belonging to Henry VIII. And there is a photo of Henry VIII. Duckett made a pilgrimage to Hampton Court Palace to view the duplicate crown in person. What he saw was enough to convince him that the figurine of King Henry VI, depicted as a saint he'd unearthed, had once been its centerpiece. The very thought that Henry VIII used to wear this figure in his crown on his head over 500 years ago, when he was the most powerful man in the land, is just mind-blowing. It sure is. And he actually found it. It's amazing. This is what Duckett had told the Harborough Mail. I can hardly believe that I found this magnificent royal piece in a humble farmer's field near Market Harborough. By law, Duckett turned his find over to the authorities, who sent it on to the British Museum in London for further study. If it does turn out to be a true piece of the Tudor crown, ducat, and the owner of the site where the royal trinket turned up will receive a handsome bounty from its sale to a museum. Well, that's the least they could get, for sure. It's fascinating. Ducat isn't alone in his enthusiasm for treasure hunting, and during the pandemic, the number of detectorists, as they are called in the UK, has been steadily on the rise. Metal detecting is a pastime that's well suited for both social distancing and indulging our sense of adventure. You know, on this channel I cover many stories like this, and many of them have been shared by the community to me. But you may remember a story that I covered about a mom who, during the beginnings of the pandemic, found quite a treasure and a coin. And that lady herself made her way onto one of my live streams and was hoping to get an interview with her to talk about her experience. Reached out to her, she responded back, and about a little bit of brief correspondence. Have not heard back from her, but still it's very exciting. Also, other members of the community who are familiar and who have themselves done detectoring in the United Kingdom say that it's not uncommon to find treasures such as old Roman coins and artifacts from historical times in British history. Fascinating indeed. There are many more people using metal detectors than there are archaeologists, so they find much more stuff. And it's transforming our view of the past, academic archaeologist Professor Karenza Lewis told ITV. For Kev Ducat, the journey from finding a priceless piece of history to authenticating it has been a long and arduous one, indeed, for sure. While at the moment the final outcome is still in limbo, Ducat's not in the least discouraged. Treasure hunting is in my blood, it's deep in my DNA, he said on his Facebook page. And finding treasure doesn't come any better than this, that's for sure. And most likely this story probably would not have been published if they didn't have a modicum of certainty that this thing was indeed genuine, or at least, a fair amount, probably above 80% confidence that this thing is genuine. I believe it is too, and it's very exciting indeed. And I hope there are handsome rewards for finding such an historical piece of history as such. And this picture certainly does give us a peek in the past that hasn't been in the ground since for this long of time, hundreds of years. Fascinating indeed. So there you go. There you have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thanks again to Dr. Who for sharing it with me. And I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and encourage you to please rate, share this video upon every single social media platform known to man and animal and bots, and also hit that notification bell so that you can be apprised of the latest video posted, and share, comment, and subscribe.